Join me as I dive into the chaos of the stock and crypto market. If we look at where the Dow, Nasdaq, and S&P 500 was from about a month ago, we're down about 10%. It seems like it's a lot. It's crazy. It's definitely painful to see all that red trend going down. You got tariff laws the investors are worried about. Now China is trying to tariff on Canada as well. They're going back and forth in circle, but nothing has actually been in place yet, but people are worried. The second thing you got to think about, inflation is still kind of a bit whatever the news media is telling you versus what's happening in real life. People are going through it. I'm seeing it because I myself trying to rent out a particular unit. I'm seeing the people that are coming through, where they are at in terms of their bank accounts, their savings, and what they can actually afford. It's really a struggle out here. So there is the inflation data that you're going to see the media is portraying to you. And then there's the real inflation data that people are seeing that are happening in real life. And things are getting tougher and tougher. People are finding it harder. Things are increasing. Like I just got a notice for my electric bill is going to go up in a couple of months. They've already added an increase so far, as well as the gas prices that went up about 25% from where it was before, which is a lot if you think about it. But how do we prepare for what's to come in the market? Because there's a lot of uncertainties that we do not know. Nasdaq is at 17,000. From a month ago, it's down 11.24%. It was at 19,000 and peak about 20,000 here. Are we going to go through a continuous downtrend? There's no way to know. But if we look at just today, just look at the trend from today, we see that it opened up, it started spiking up, and then it went down, and then went up a little bit, and then went down on the downtrend. One thing I noticed with patterns when it comes to investing, not that I'm a day trader or anything like that, when you see this up right here and it goes down, what I look for when it goes back up again, is it gonna pass this point? If it does not, then it's most likely gonna hit this down point trend. And this is what happened here. It hit up here, and that means it's most likely gonna go down from that point on. But then you see that it went spiking over this amount that we opened here today. To me, that's an indicator that tomorrow we might be experiencing higher points. But that doesn't mean it's a guarantee. It might fluctuate to be a little different. So let's look at now S&P 500. From a month ago, we're down 8%. But let's look at today's. Same thing. It peaked a little bit, went down. As you can see, it went back down again. But it went higher than when it peaked at right here. So that's usually an indicator for me that we're going to hit an upper trend, but no way for me to know for sure. Let's look at the Dow Jones right now. It just started plummeting down. So it opened at 41,837, went down, downward trend. See, they follow similar patterns, but when it peaked right here, it didn't reach that 837 point. So 2 of the 3 indices reached that point. So to me, that still is a strong indicator that I feel like this is going to go upward. And Dow Jones, I don't usually consider it to be like my health metric when it comes to the market, is although this is the indicator that a lot of companies and industries use because it's diversified across different sectors. But to me, those companies are usually like pretty healthy, wealthy companies, and they're always suck so much out of market caps throughout the market that they do deserve to brought back a little bit. But if they're doing well, I can't take that away from them. They're companies that are sustainable, that the US is standing upon. That's why it's called the Dow Jones. But when it comes to this chaos, one thing I want you to think about, what is the purpose of you investing? Let's bring it back here, because if you're just investing out of the sake of your own self-gain, you're just pretty much doing it in vain. What's the true rewards of that for you? That's something you got to think about for yourself. No one has the same answers. No one should have the same answers. There is no right or wrong to it. Am I using the investments that I'm able to gain out of investing to do for society? Am I actually serving people? Some of those questions that you got to ask yourself. Not that that has to be ultimate, but you got to understand why you're investing and have a goal in mind. Because I do think when we have some value of why we're investing, we find a different motivation to why we're doing it. So when these things are panicking and we're going through these chaotic times, you can put all that behind and remember the true reason why you're doing it. I really think the people that have survived through these times are the people that remember their foundation, the ground of why they started investing. Because when you lose sight of that and the markets start going crazy sideways or downwards, then you start panicking and forgetting the essentials of why I am doing this. Now we're going to look at our $10,000 portfolio and our $1,000 portfolio to see how they are doing through this time. Our $10,000 portfolio is down about 13%. You could just consider it 15%, right? So this is kind of like the value of our return here. This 8,400 is the value of our 10,000. It went down. The reason that it's slightly off is because we didn't invest all the cash. So this negative value is pretty much that amount. Even our mutual funds, index funds, ITYX and ARGFX, they are down by a slight bit, not that much. What's definitely still doing good is our Grayscale large capital cap. So that one is a mixture of different crypto-based stocks that are brought up together. So you consider that a mutual fund that is particularly for the crypto market, but they consider a large cap because it combines a variety of things all in one. Our Litecoin Trust is down, so is our Bitcoin Cash Trust down by quite a bit, by the way. Our Bitcoin Trust is up, so which is good. Nikola actually went bankrupt, so we could consider this as a complete loss. So we lost about $500 in Nikola. Things like that will happen, and your portfolio will just have to rebalance, and you will have the ability to make up for it elsewhere. Lab is down quite a bit. They took a huge hit from around $2 to like $1, but they're slowly, I think, they bottomed out. I think they're going to be on an upward trend for the times to be. I got to look at the latest report just to see how their expectations are for the year to come and for the couple years ahead. NEO is starting to make a bit of a comeback. We're down quite a bit, but it did trend upward slightly from where it was before. Workhorse, we could also consider that as a loss. It's all right. TDOC, I think they might make a comeback. GoTo and TAL, as well as XPeng, there's something happening right now with the Chinese market. That's why I always say diversify across not just with sectors and domains, but if you are keeping certain sectors and domain, make sure you have them allocated to other countries as well. GoTo, TAL, XPeng, Jamaya, they all are foreign-based stocks. They're not based here. So sometimes they might be going upward in other countries versus downwards here. So we got to keep that in mind. Like Rivian is still down quite a bit, but as you can see, XPeng, car space, they're going up. Beyond Meat, I still believe in it because I'm vegan. I still eat quite a bit of Beyond Meat, although they just haven't figured out the proper cash model yet. I think right now they're going through a lot of turbulences. Matic is being hammered, like Litecoin. We are still in the green for Litecoin. Even though we're negative in Litecoin Trust, we bought Litecoin at a decent price, and it is in the green right now, so which is good. Ethereum Classic, negative. Doge, we're still positive. And Shiba Inu, we're still positive by slightly a bit, by $18, which is crazy. And then Near and Cadena, we are hammered. We're not down too much. We're down only about 15%. So which is pretty good considering that the overall market right now. Let's look at our $1,000 market. We are hammered. We are down 40%, but don't panic. Don't panic at all. So I actually opened up a portfolio for my godson. This was about maybe 2 years ago, and I put $1,000 in there. I would say I put similar funds in there when I did the investments, and the portfolio started at 1,000, went up to like 1,100, then went down all the way to 600. Don't panic. Let it sit there, do its thing. Literally, about like 7 months later, 8 months later, that portfolio went to $4,500 in value as of last year, around May of last year. So it just spiked up. So you just never know with these volatility. He does have crypto-based stocks, XPeng, and some of those Chinese-based stocks in there. We don't know when things are going to really shoot up. Only XPeng and VRAR are in the positive green. Everything else is just beaten in the red, which is fine. We're going to have our day. We just got to be patient and be willing to ride through the turbulence. And so what do I think is going to happen to the market from here? Nobody knows. Nobody really ever knows. Have we bottomed out? I can't tell you, but I do see the indicator based on the SP 500 and the NASDAQ. It seems like we might be going on an upward trend for the rest of this week, but who knows? Things might happen. There might be some policy that changed. You got government shutdown that was at risk, but it seems like there's some relief because the House passed a bill to go to the Senate. Now, if the Senate accepts it, then we should be good. Usually the market reacts positively to news like that, but at the same time, you never know. With crypto, it's not really tied to anything. So I honestly sometimes don't even know why it goes down or even why it goes up, other than people are speculative about, I think this is going to go up at this point in time. And I think when people have a lot of cash during like COVID 2020, when the government printed a lot of money, it caused a spike to happen probably in the US and caused the whole world to react as well. The world typically follows what the US is doing. So I think a combination of those will help make crypto pretty much shoot up. So Bitcoin is at 83,000 right now. As you can see, it's making a good recovery from about a day ago. It went all the way down to 77,000. So it gained about $6,000 in value since then. And it reached this peak right here. I think for us to see a complete reversal from what we've seen previously, it has to pass this point here. So that is 83,005, whatever that is, right? So today, did we reach that point? We were close. But we didn't really quite get there. So maybe tomorrow, if it reaches that point, then I feel like we'll be in a complete reversal where we could now get back to that 86,000. And who knows, it might just shoot up. We almost made it. As you can see here, it spiked up here. But on the next rebound, it didn't spike to make it past this point. Because if it did, it would have meant that there's more bull momentum to keep making it shoot up. So the best thing to do right now strategically is dollar cost average. As it's going down, buy a bit in pieces as you can. So if you have certain funds locked in, like every time it goes down by like 25%, buy some more. So Bitcoin, for example, 25% of it will be at 60,000. Then you could buy some more. Then if it goes down another 25 from that 60,000, which would be like 45,000, you buy some more. And now from that point on, let's say like 30 something thousand, you buy some more. So you keep buying on the way down. That's usually the best strategy so that you're never missing out on the bottom trend, because the bottom, once it reaches that and you've been doing this dollar cost averaging going down, when you hit it, you're going to kind of time it almost perfectly. You're not going to perfectly time it, but you are going to kind of get close to it versus someone who is sitting here speculating that I reached the bottom at 83,000 or I reached the bottom at 77,000. You won't quite really know. So you want to definitely allocate your cash so you can do those 25% buy downs continuously, but only for those stocks, mutual funds and crypto that you actually believe in. I don't think you should do this for any stock at all. Certain stocks, like we saw with Nikola, it just went completely bankrupt. Workhorse, which probably is on its way there as well. If you kept on buying it at that 25%, I don't think it would have been pretty strategic for you to do that unless you really believed in it at that point in time. They already had negative news. That's why we just have a small portion of our portfolio allocated to it, so that way we can capitalize if it does something crazy happen that people unexpect and it just shoots up. We're able to reap out of it, but it's not a sustainable company from the news and the things that it's actually producing. So those are the things that you got to think about. Who's actually doing things that are out? That's why Beyond Meat, I'm not giving up on them, because I can go to the grocery store and actually see them on the shelves. People are still buying it. They're still getting cash. It's still in demand. If it wasn't, then I would have been like, all right, I'm no longer buying this. That's why I believe in what it's doing, because it's actual tangible thing. You got to look at the business model to see if it's still working. Even though they're operating on a negative stance, I do feel like in the future, eventually they're going to figure out a way to make it work. So I hope you found all of this insightful. Don't be scared and panicking. Just know that if you're doing dollar cost averaging, it's less risky. Yes, you might not be perfectly able to time the market, but it's the closest you can get to doing that. And you're not missing out on those great days where the market just spike up like crazy because you bought at a point where it just bottomed out so bad and you just were able to shoot up right after that. Stay positive about everything as best as you can. Don't worry yourself so much. Instead of panicking and all these things, just remember the true reason why you're investing. Find that in you. For me, that is to give back to God's kingdom the best way I can. I don't harvest what I do just for myself, but I use it in order for me to be able to leverage it as resources to do for God's kingdom, evangelizing, give back to charity, organizations that need the support. Hope you found all this insightful. Peace and love. Trust in Jesus. Have an amazing one.